In the ever-shifting landscape of the Korean entertainment industry, where alliances shift overnight and silence often hides the biggest truths, no one expected the calm early hours of Monday to erupt into one of the most talked-about moments of the month. A ripple of information, small enough to overlook yet sharp enough to cut through the usual morning quiet, slipped out from the depths of the industry. Within hours, what began as a whisper became the single biggest conversation dominating the nation's media feeds. Two actors, both beloved, both respected, both known for their quiet dignity, had made moves no one predicted. Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min were leaving their agencies. Not separately, not months apart, but on the same day. Timing alone was enough to shatter the morning calm. For an industry driven by strategic timing, public image, and the delicate dance between revelation and discretion, such synchronized shifts were nearly unheard of. Before the public had time to fully absorb the meaning behind Jung Hae-in's agency departure, another announcement struck the entertainment landscape like lightning cutting through a cloudy sky. Jung So-min was severing ties with her long-standing management and stepping into unknown territory. It was the kind of moment that made even seasoned journalists pause, look twice, and wonder if they were witnessing coincidence or something far more calculated, far more connected. And yet, beneath the frenzy, everything began in silence. Only a week prior, insiders had noticed a subtle but unmistakable change in Jung Hae-in's behavior. The actor, known for his calm public persona and measured approach to his career, had been slipping in and out of discreet meetings in nondescript buildings away from Seoul's corporate entertainment district. His schedule had appeared strangely light, projects paused, appearances postponed, staff rotations shifting behind the scenes. Even his fans, who have long admired his ability to maintain privacy, sensed an unusual calmness surrounding him. A quiet that didn't feel empty but purposeful. A person close to him later described his mood during the period as determined, almost relieved, as if a heavy decision had finally been made. What no one knew then was that a similar air of stillness surrounded Jung So-min. Just days before her announcement, vanished from public view. No casual updates, no radio schedules, no sightings from fans. It wasn't dramatic, but it was noticeable. People who had worked with her mentioned subtle tension over recent months, scheduling conflicts that grew harder to navigate, creative differences that weighed on her heavily. Longing for something more aligned with her growth as an actress. A former staff member, speaking anonymously, revealed that So-min had been battling a sense of stagnation. She wasn't chasing a better offer. She was searching for a better direction. There's a difference. When the clock struck 9 a.m. that Monday morning, Dispatch pushed the entire industry one step closer to chaos with a single headline: top actor Jung Hae-in likely to switch agencies amid contract expiration. It wasn't confirmation, it wasn't even definite, but that didn't matter. Within minutes, it was trending across Naver and Dom, drowning out all other entertainment news. Phones started ringing inside agencies. PR teams scrambled. Fans gathered online, some dismissing it as speculation, others sensing something bigger. At 10:12 a.m., the speculation ended. Jung Hae-in's agency released a short, polite, carefully curated statement confirming the end of his contract and acknowledging his search for new management. The brevity of the announcement startled many. Of gratitude. No future plans, just a clean break. That silence between the words held more power than any lengthy explanation ever could. But before the public could even finish dissecting the actor's motivations, a shockwave hit harder at precisely 12:40 p.m. Jung So-min's agency released a bombshell. They would not be renewing her contract. There had been no rumors, no leaks, predictions, not even the usual faint noise that usually precedes such shifts. The timing felt uncanny. Two top stars, two simultaneous departures, one single day. Social media exploded as if struck by a spark in a field of dry grass. Within the hour, hashtags soared to the top of trending lists. Start Hae-in, So-min Annecy shift. The double announcement. Reddit threads multiplied. Twitter, X, debates ignited. YouTubers launched emergency live streams. Fans from Korea, Japan, China, Southeast Asia, and the US scrambled to piece together every scrap of information they could find. The atmosphere was electric, not in a scandalous way. Sensed that everyone watching felt they were witnessing the beginning of something bigger than a simple contract change. Media outlets began scrambling as well. Articles poured in. with entertainment analysts, casting directors, and former agency staff weighing in on what this meant for the industry. A casting expert explained on a morning radio show, "Agency shifts for A-list actors are extremely strategic. They don't happen accidentally. And they definitely don't happen at the same time without raising questions." Another industry insider said, "This isn't a coincidence. This is a full-scale tremor. But what caused this tremor? Why now? Why them?" For Jung Hae-in, the answer seemed rooted in ambition. Over the past few years, he has steadily grown from a charming supporting actor to a global household name, adored for his emotional subtlety and impeccable storytelling ability. His acting style, restrained yet powerful, has found a loyal international audience, especially through streaming platforms. People close to him suggested he sought an agency capable of broadening his global reach and offering projects that challenged him creatively. There was talk of him wanting to explore international collaborations, new genres, and possibly even producing roles behind the camera. For Jung So-min, the shift appeared more personal than strategic. Her career has always been built from sincerity and emotional depth rather than sensationalism or fast fame. But behind that grace, she carried the weight of expectations and the limitations that sometimes come with long-term contracts. Rumors hinted at artistic differences, desire for more freedom, and her longing to break into more mature, transformative roles. Observers noted her recent choices in scripts were braver, bolder, or emotionally demanding, signs that she was preparing for a major shift long before the announcement came. The day progressed. Something else became impossible to ignore: the strange alignment between the two announcements. The tone of both statements, the timing. Simultaneous decision to step away. Quietly confident air surrounding both actors sent fans spiraling into a maze of interpretation. Some believe the timing was purely strategic. Incidents born from similar contract cycles. Whispered that the two actors might have consulted privately with one another, sharing concerns about artistic direction or industry pressures. And then there were the romantic dreamers, fans who wondered aloud whether the pair, who have always displayed a calm, natural energy around each other during public events, had a deeper connection. While no evidence emerged to support any of these theories, fascination only grew stronger. By late afternoon, entertainment programs had shifted their segments to discuss the double agency departure, delving into both actors' histories, parallel career paths, and the strangely synchronized timing that none could fully explain. One broadcaster said, "It's rare for two stars of this caliber to move at the same time, and rarer still for their decisions to feel so connected." Following 48 hours unfolded like scenes from a tightly directed Korean drama. Media outlets released hour-by-hour coverage, analyzing every detail, every expression, every silence. Agencies issued polite denials that their plans had any connection. Fans uploaded video compilations of the actors' past award show interactions, searching for hints or meaningful glances. Expert panels debated the long-term impact of such synchronized shifts, predicting ripples throughout casting decisions and project developments. Yet, amid the whirlwind, there was something undeniably compelling about the entire situation. Two stars known for their deep emotional intelligence, grounded personalities, and consistent humility. Bold moves felt less like dramatic exits and more like intentional, thoughtful steps towards something new. Fans who did not typically follow celebrity news found themselves drawn into the unfolding narrative, sensing a kind of poetic timing in their parallel transitions. As the first shockwave settled, the entertainment world entered a strange state of calm, a calm that felt artificial, like the still air before a thunderstorm. News outlets continued to print headlines, but beneath the surface, something deeper had begun to stir. It wasn't just about two actors changing agencies anymore. Something about this week felt symbolic, heavy with meaning, wrapped in a quiet anticipation that even the most seasoned reporters couldn't put into words. It was as if the entire nation held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Social media erupted into a firestorm. Twitter feeds scrolled endlessly with theories and speculation. Instagram stories multiplied, filled with red arrows, circled screenshots, timelines stretching from years ago to the present. Fans dug through old interviews, press conferences, moments, anything that might hold clues as to why these two actors seemed so fatefully aligned in their decisions. For some, it was pure curiosity. For others, something close to hope. The first spark appeared late that evening when someone noticed that Jung Hae-in had interacted with a post connected to Jung So-min, an old promotional image fans had long forgotten. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It struck like a match in a gasoline-filled room. Why interact now of all times? Why this particular post? Why on the very day their agency shifts were announced? Before anyone could process it, another discovery hit the internet even faster. Jung So-min had viewed one of Jung Hae-in's recent stories. It was simple, an image of a city skyline with soft lighting. Nothing suggestive or unusual. The timing was too perfect, too coincidental. Small gestures that meant nothing on the surface suddenly meant everything to fans who had been starving for even the smallest sign of connection between the two. Comments flooded in within minutes, ranging from disbelief to excitement, confusion to emotional overload. It was chaos. Kind of chaos fans secretly loved, moments where fiction and reality blur, where possibility feels tangible. The actors themselves said nothing. Their agencies said nothing. And that silence became louder than anything they could have posted. At first, some believed the silence was strategic. But as hours turned into days, it felt more like a deliberate choice. Jung So-min refrained from posting anything for nearly 3 days. An unusual gap for someone who usually updated fans with short glimpses into her daily life. Jung Hae-in, meanwhile, posted a single line, "A new chapter begins." Context. No references. Just a sentence that felt carefully placed yet profoundly revealing. The entertainment world buzzed with interpretations. Producers speculated about possible collaborations. Casting directors quietly adjusted their internal lists. Teams debated which brands would try to court either actor following their high-profile transitions. Some insiders even whispered about a potential shared project, a melodrama with a global release. An odd series waiting for the perfect pair of leads. Beyond the professional speculation, something more emotional was happening online. Fans began revisiting the journeys of both actors, posting edits of their earliest works, struggles, their growth, and the quiet strength that had defined them through the years. Jung Hae-in's steady rise from small supporting roles to international acclaim. Jung So-min's transformation from a misunderstood actress to a respected force of emotional storytelling. Their paths, though separate, had always reflected a similar resilience, a similar warmth. It didn't take long before these fan-made tributes became the heartbeat of the conversation. It wasn't gossip driving the narrative anymore. It was admiration, gratitude, and a collective wish to see the actors thrive. People shared how their performances had touched them, how their characters had offered healing during difficult times, how their sincerity felt like a rare treasure in an industry known for its harshness. And while the public celebrated, industry itself felt the tremors. Agency executives stayed late into the night reviewing contract policies. Members whispered anxiously about possible ripple effects. Even actors at other companies quietly reflected on their own futures. As if Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min's bold steps had awakened something long dormant, a reminder that personal growth sometimes requires brave change. Amid the whirlwind, journalists dug deeper. Uncovered hints that the transition had been in motion for months. Meetings held behind closed doors. Schedule adjustments subtly made. Management discussions that had stretched late into the night. It became clear that this wasn't impulsive. It was intentional, thoughtful, even necessary. The director who had worked with both actors commented anonymously. They're both at a point in their careers where comfort isn't enough anymore. They need room to grow. They need teams that understand their evolution, just their past. Another insider suggested that the two had indeed confided in one another. Not romantically but as friends who understood the weight of reinvention. Still, the public's imagination ran wild. Fan edits pairing the actors skyrocketed. YouTubers crafted deep dive videos, connecting dots between interviews, press events, even the way the actors glanced at each other during an awards ceremony years ago. One viral comment summed up the collective sentiment: it feels like their paths are aligning, not because they planned it, but because they're meant to. Amid all the noise, an unexpected softness emerged. The narrative shifted from shock to support, from frenzy to warmth. Fans began leaving heartfelt messages on both actors' pages, not demanding explanations or confirmations, but offering congratulations, encouragement, and love. They celebrated courage. They celebrated change. They celebrated the possibility of new beginnings. whatever form those beginnings might take. Yet the most striking moment came when the actors finally appeared in public for the first time since their announcements. It's a media event, nothing extraordinary, meant to stir attention. But when Jung So-min stepped out of the car, carried an air of calm confidence that seemed to radiate from within. Her smile was soft, grounded, and sincere. The smile of someone who had made a difficult decision and emerged stronger for it. Hours later, Jung Hae-in arrived at a separate event. Photographers with a gentleness that felt unusually peaceful. It reflected something new, quiet hope, perhaps, or the relief of finally stepping into a chapter he had long prepared for. The media captured both moments, and within minutes, headlines proclaimed, "They look different." Appearance, but in presence. Stronger, brighter, lighter. It was impossible to say whether the change came from new agencies, new goals, or something else entirely. It was clear that something had shifted. As the week drew to a close, the frenzy slowly softened into reflection. The entertainment world continued to speculate, but the tone had changed. Wild theories. No more breathless commentary. Instead, began to accept that both actors were moving toward a future shaped by clarity and purpose. And yet, a quiet question lingered in the air: what now? Projects awaited them. What opportunities would their new agencies bring? Would their paths cross professionally in the near future? Fans didn't know. Reporters didn't know. Even insiders admitted they were only guessing. One thing had become unmistakably clear: this week marked a turning point. Not only in their careers but in the public's perception of them. It was as if both actors had stepped through invisible doors. Doors that had been waiting for them all along. Agency shifts, unexpected SNS interactions, and days filled with silence heavier than any words. The story had grown bigger than headlines, bigger than rumors, bigger than speculation. It had become a story about courage, about choosing growth over comfort, direction over familiarity, authenticity over expectations. Both actors had stood at the edge of change and stepped forward without hesitation. The public felt that. They resonated with it, celebrated it. And as the final echo of this extraordinary week settled over the entertainment world, one truth remained: new beginnings aren't always loud. Sometimes they come quietly, through decisions made in private, through small interactions that ripple outward, through a silence that speaks louder than any official statement. Sometimes they unfold not with fanfare, but with timing so perfect it feels almost destined. Whatever awaits Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min, the world is watching, not out of gossip, out of genuine anticipation. Because in the world of Korean entertainment, silence is rarely empty. Sometimes, it is the start of something extraordinary.